smaller than, yeah, definitely smaller than Bali. I guess it's probably smaller than Jakarta, for sure. The population is 6 million. It's not even half of the Jakarta population. It's one tiny island. Well, look at Malaysia. Malaysia is small. The population of Malaysia, I think, is less than 20 million. It's a small country with a small population and really not a big area. The better comparison is to compare Indonesia to India. And although India is kind of famous as a rising superpower, if you look at the condition of average people in India, my comment is always, if you're very rich and very educated, probably India is a better country to come from, because you have perfect English and you have educational connections around the world. But if you are just average middle people, or especially poor people, the poorer people, the best place to be is Indonesia compared to India. Because like, poor people in Indonesia, even in somewhere in the far end of NTT or something like this, they have primary school, and they have healthcare, and they have one national language. Everyone can speak Indonesian in this country, almost everyone. And in India, if you went to a remote poor place, school, healthcare, they don't speak the national language. So I think actually the idea that it's like Japanese is just not true. And I find it the weirdest, strangest, most frustrating comment that I ever hear from Indonesians. And that was basically the start of that book. That was my idea. So maybe that answers your question.
Tim, could you continue to another book? Because you also wrote about pop culture in Indonesia, including dangdut. So please you tell us about another book. It's totally 5, right?
Yeah,
5 books.
I guess so. Yeah, that book is the one that has introduced dangdut. So I guess people sometimes ask me what I don't like about Indonesia. And I probably used to say dangdut because when I first came to Indonesia, I was traveling with a friend from Borneo to go surfing. Well, we traveled from Bali all the way through NTT and NTT. So through Lombok and then through Sumbawa, all the way to Flores and then to Sumba on the bus, on the local bus, not a good bus at that time. And I guess we learned to hate the music that they played in the bus. We didn't know what this music was, but we really didn't like it. It was very difficult music to listen to. But the most traumatic part of the whole experience was we traveled from Sumbawa to Flores from Sakpe, I think it's about 5 hours on the ferry. So when we arrived in Sakpe, we had to wait for quite a few hours for the ferry. And there was a group band from Bima, and they were traveling to Labuan Bajo for a concert. And they were a dangdut band, dangdut from Bima, so not even high-class dangdut. The second segment, maybe the 4th class dangdut. They were really friendly, and they were really nice to us, and they gave us food, and they wanted to talk to us all the time, which was very nice. But they also wanted to play us their music. So we were waiting in the port in Sakpe, and they had a concert for us with their dangdut music. So we were like, then we got on the ferry, and they started to play their dangdut very loud for 5 hours on the ferry. So you're going through all the really beautiful islands around Komodo with a continuous, very, very high volume dangdut soundtrack. And this is not high quality dangdut. This is dangdut Bima, which is maybe not quite so good. So by the time we had reached Labuan Bajo, we hated dangdut. We still didn't know what it was called. We just hated this awful music. And then we checked into our hotel. We found a hotel on the hilltop in Labuan Bajo. Labuan Bajo was very quiet at that time, not we checked into the hotel. Finally, we can have some rest. And we were both lying on the two beds and just having some rest. And then we heard from just outside the sound of the bamboo music. And the group was staying in the same hotel. And the moment they arrived, they started their instrument and started to play dangdut. So that was my first introduction to Indonesian music. And I found I really, really hated dangdut. But after a few years, when I was away from Indonesia, just occasionally I would go to like an Indonesian restaurant in London or something and just hear a little bit of dangdut coming out of the kitchen. And I found that then I liked it because it reminded me of Indonesia. So when I came to write this book is part of a series. The first one was A Geek in Japan by another writer, then there was A Geek in Korea, A Geek in China, A Geek in Thailand, and then this one finally. So the concept is to have like a personal introduction to the country from a foreigner who has lived and travelled in the country. So you have to cover something about the food, something about the history, something about travel, but also something about the popular culture, but from your own perspective. So you can choose to put whatever you like. So the Japan one, there's a lot about the animation, manga, and that kind of thing. In my one, the main thing that I wanted to add to it, one was food. Food is my specialist subject. And then the other was music. And I wrote the chapter about dangdut, and I found that I became very nostalgic about listening to bad dangdut music on the Indonesian ferries and Indonesian buses. And I guess I now sometimes find myself in England, just going onto YouTube and listening to dangdut music to remind myself of England. So yeah, there's a chapter on dangdut, but there's also a big chapter on Indonesian punk rock. That's the music from Indonesia that I particularly like. Sometimes I get asked by foreigners, oh, tell me about Indonesian music. And they expect me to talk about like gamelan or something like this. But actually, usually I talk about, well, Indonesian punk rock. Because Indonesia has the best punk rock in the world. From every genre of punk. From like pop punk, in Bali, Superman's Dead, very cool band. To really, really aggressive political punk rock like Marginal in Jakarta. It's an amazing band. But you also have really good Irish-style punk rock bands. So in the world, the famous ones would be the Dropkick Murphys and Flogging Molly, but Indonesia is the center of the universe for Celtic punk rock. One of my favorite Indonesian bands is a band called the Bloods and the Tobacco, who are from Jogja, and they are Irish-style punk rock. So you don't get to write about that stuff in these serious history books. You don't get to write about that stuff in actually this kind of book, and you don't get to write about that stuff in the tourist guidebooks, like The Lonely Planet. But the concept of this book is I could write about the history and the food and the travel, but also about bad and good punk rock. So that's the concept of that book.
Di buku ini saya tadi sempat mengintip, Tim juga nulis soal Ada Apa Dengan Cinta. Dian Sastronya masih muda sekali. Tim, we move to this book, and for Indonesian, we just know about Raffles' legacy is Kebun Raya Bogor. First, could you clarify about the role of Raffles to Kebun Raya? And second, why Indonesia people just focus on Kebun Raya as a British legacy? Even there are many legacy, including Keraton netizen.
Yep.
So first you have to answer about controversy of Kebun Raya.
So this is always the question. Indonesian people asking me about Raffles. They always say, oh yeah, what is the legacy of Raffles? So the first one, he made Kebun Raya. That's the first one. The second one, I think he gave the name to Jalan in Jogja. I think that one, and also he found the Rafflesia flower. Yeah. Raffles did not start the Kebun Raya. it's just not true. He lived in Bogor and he had a garden, but the Kebun Raya was started by a Dutch guy after Raffles. I cannot remember his name and I cannot remember the date. I will have to check for you, but it's approximately 1820 after Raffles. So Raffles made a garden, but he did not make He did not make an official botanical garden. It's just not true. I think the reason people think he did is because of the monument to his wife. So most people know not Sophia, the first one, Olivia. So Olivia died I think she died in Batavia. But there is a monument. She's not buried in Bogor, she's buried in Batavia. But the monument is in Bogor. So I think that's why people have the idea Raffles created Kebun. But it's not true. So that was not Raffles. The second one, Jalan, the story is it's Marlborough, right? And it's named for Lord Marlborough. But it's not true. Marlborough is an old name and probably comes from Sanskrit word, and the meaning is a bit unclear, but something connected with flowers, garlands of flowers. So it's not Marlborough, it's not Marlborough. So that one's not true. And the Felsia flower, he didn't discover it because it was already there, right? The people in Sumatra already knew it was there. We cannot discover something if other people know it exists. And it wasn't him who found it. It was his local guides showed it to his assistant, Arnold, who was a botanist. And then Arnold died, so Raffles put his name on the flower. So none of those things are actually true about Raffles. Or the other one is Raffles discovered Borobudur. Have you seen Borobudur? It's huge. How can Borobudur be lost? How can you need to discover something that big? Everyone in Central Java knew that Borobudur existed. The Dutch knew that Borobudur existed. Raffles was the first person to write about it in English, but he didn't discover it. So Raffles' legacy in Indonesia actually, according to me, is much more negative than making a nice garden and finding a magical flower. Because Raffles is directly responsible for one of the most traumatic incidents in Javanese history, which was the 1812 attack on the Yogyakarta Kraton, which was after 200 years of colonial history in Java. It was the first time, and in fact really the only time, that a European power attacked and basically destroyed a very important, the most powerful and elevated Javanese Kraton in 1812. And the reason he did it was to demonstrate his power. It's pure aggressive colonialism, and it had never happened before. So there'd been a lot of interaction between the Dutch and the Javanese courts, originally Mataram, and then after Mataram was partition between Jogja and Solo, but they had never actually had a direct attack. So the Kraton Yogyakarta, they didn't expect this to happen, and it was almost like a ritual demonstration of power. So what the British did in Yogyakarta was almost like a performance. So they destroyed it, then they took the piss from the Sultan and from all of the princes, and then they took the archive. So the whole archive, all of the manuscripts, all of the documents from Yogyakarta from before 1812 are gone. They're all in London still. So if you go to the Kraton Yogyakarta, everything they have in their archive now is from after 1812. 1812. They had to start again in London. Yeah, in the British Library. They took everything. It's one of the most aggressive and total colonialist actions. Actually, in really the history of Indonesia. You have the Diponegoro War that comes after, but actually the beginning of that is the British invasion, because Pangeran Diponegoro was there in the Kraton when this happened, so that was his first real direct experience of what the European powers do, and he took that memory and took that trauma into the next decade when he started his rebellion. So that was actually one of the causes of the Java War, the Water War. Began with the Raffles attack. And then, yeah, of course, you have everything that happened in the revolution. And there was a lot of violence from the Dutch, but as a single traumatic event, I think the only thing that compares really to what Raffles did in Yogyakarta is, any idea what I would say? The Battle of Surabaya, which was also the British. So the kind of beginning and the end of the colonial period, in the real beginning. So the beginning when the first Dutch came is in 1596, but the real beginning of colonialism, real colonialism, is the British invasion. And then the end is 1945, and at both times it was the British. Although for the British, 1945 was kind of a mistake. They didn't really want to be here. They wanted to be here. So these two iconic traumatic events in the history, violent colonial events. Both times it wasn't the Dutch, it was the British. So maybe next time you want to say, maybe think a little bit carefully about it.
We continue to the contemporary issues about Indonesia. You wrote the Reformasi and the role of president after the Reformasi, and including tsunami. Could you tell us about Indonesia after Reformasi?
So yeah, that was my next book after that one was Brief History of Indonesia, which, as I said, it's my favorite. Actually, maybe this one, because that one is good fun.